And welcome to this edition of Bobcat Update. I'm Reagan Volcik. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Tristen Avant. Thanks for joining us. We start with global news that has impacts right here in San Marcos. Both the U.S. and Iran have boarded ships in the Strait of Hormuz this week. U.S. Navy ships are now blocking key ports in Iran. Iranian leaders say that they won't reopen the strait until that blockade stops. About 20% of the world's supply of oil and gas usually ships through there, but Iran blocked it after the U.S. launched airstrikes last month. Just in the last day, U.S. troops boarded a tanker in the Indian Ocean. The Pentagon says it was carrying oil from Iran. Meanwhile, Iran reportedly boarded 2 European cargo ships which were stopped near the strait. Oil and gas traffic is much lower than normal.
Less oil from Iran means higher prices all over. If you've filled up your tank lately, you've probably felt the hit to your wallet. Reporter Gisela Morones got out to some local gas stations. She shows us how high gas prices are forcing some students to tap the brakes.
Gas prices are climbing again, and for Texas State students, that means every trip you take down I-35 feels a little more expensive. I spoke with students who say the rising cost of fuel is forcing them to rethink how they'll get around. Gas prices in Hays County have been creeping upward over the past few weeks. According to AAA, many stations in San Marcos are now reaching near $4 a gallon. For students who commute to campus, or even just across town, the added cost is starting to sting. And for some, it's not just about getting to class. Mia Aguirre, a junior at Texas State University, says the rising fuel costs are making it challenging for her to not only budget her living expenses, but visit her loved ones who live hours away.
Especially with the combination of grocery prices, it's not very easy, so gas is not very fun to do.
Aguirre is not alone, because another Texas State student, Alea Jones, says she used to go home every weekend. But with the recent gas prices, that hasn't been so easy for her to accomplish.
As a student, I would say I travel home 2 hours pretty recently, almost every weekend, I would say. So it's kind of like I want to stay home when I'm here, but like I have obligations that I obviously have to drive to. And so every time I go get gas, I kind of just want to cry because it's just getting more and more expensive.
Gas stations are also trying to make filling up a little easier.
Apps like 7-Eleven and ExxonMobil offer discounts that can help you save money at the pump.
The points can go towards cheaper gas, snacks inside, and even a car wash. Small perks like these help students stretch their budget. With President Trump back in office and the war overseas pushing prices up, students say it's hitting their wallets hard. Between tuition, rent, and groceries, even a small jump at the pump can throw everything off. Whether prices continue to rise or level out, students say they'll be monitoring closely and adjusting their routines to make every dollar stretch. Reporting from San Marcos, I'm Gisela Morones, Bobcat Update.
We told you last time about a new state law that banned some hemp products, but that ban just went up in smoke. At least for now. A Travis County judge ordered a stay of that law while a lawsuit goes forward. The Texas Tribune reports that Judge Maya Guerrera Gamble put the law on hold for at least a couple of weeks. A coalition of hemp businesses sued, saying that the law violates a 2019 law that defines what's legal when it comes to hemp products.
Our other big story, a boil water notice right here on campus. Wednesday morning, the university's public water system issued the alert. It wasn't the whole campus, only buildings on Pleasant Street, near the western edge of campus. That runs a couple blocks from North LBJ to Sessom Drive and includes music, agriculture, and others. Trinity Hall, which is home to the University Star and KTSW, was one of the buildings affected. The boil water notice was lifted the next day. Hey Tristen, let me ask you something. Have you had trouble finding parking this week?
You know, let me tell you, I'm a commuter here at Texas State, and I feel like I'm always struggling to find parking. Either it's always full, or I have to wait forever for a bus, and I feel like I can never find a good parking spot.
What if we told you there was a parking lot nearby that you already pay for, and it has open spaces? Reporter Hayden Iler shows us the way.
Trouble finding parking at the stadium? Well, you're in luck, because Texas State University has finally completed construction on the Thorpe Lane parking lot. The project has added hundreds of new parking spots for both students and commuters, so you no longer have to pile into the overcrowded stadium. The location was also chosen to be as convenient as possible for commuters. The Vice President of Facilities, Dan Costello, had this to say about the new lot.
And what's going to be great about that is you'll be able to access that parking lot directly from the I-35 access road and be able to exit out onto the I-35 access road. So if you're a commuter and you're coming, if you're coming from either north or south and I-35 is your chosen, route of choice, then that provides a good option because you can get in and off campus really easily. I just think it's going to be a great spot. It'll be over 500 parking spots in that lot. So easy to access and a very quick route onto campus.
Originally, the lot wasn't getting much use when it first opened earlier this January, but in the last few months, many students have started taking advantage of its convenience.
I'm a CS major, so a lot of my classes are actually in Derrick Hall and in Lampasas, so I also work with the Honors College. So the Thorpe Lane bus really sort of takes me to where I need to be going, especially as far as like the center of campus goes. I think as far as like the rollout of the bus went, I think it could have been done better. It took me a little while to find this place. I kept parking over at the stadium, and then I tried to park over at Bobcat Village, and it took me a bit to sort of find it through Google Maps. But I'm glad I did. It's really convenient. It's nice as a commuter to be able to pull right off the highway here and just sort of fill it in right over there.
With more people becoming aware of the lot, we spoke with one of the bus drivers to see how full the ride usually gets.
Actually, it's not that full. Occasionally you'll get a full bus, and it's not completely full, but I don't think a lot of people know about the Thorpe parking lot yet.
The Thorpe parking lot is open to all Texas State students and runs buses the same time as the other stops. For Bobcat Update, I'm Hayden Iler.
There are some other big stories to tell you about today.
Yeah, important local and national news. Reporter Neely Burrier is in our newsroom with some updates. Neely?
Thanks. Elections for new members of student government happened this month. There were a record number of votes cast in this year's election. More than 2,500 students voted on a new president, vice president, and student senators from the university's 8 colleges. The Bobcats in Bloom ticket won the presidency and vice presidency. Johanna Ajayi will be student government president next year. She's a sophomore finance major who ran on a ticket to be inclusive of all voices. Her vice president, Keller Hammock, is a junior accounting major. They got 3 times as many votes as the New Horizon Coalition. You can learn more about the election, including who your college's reps will be, on the KTSW student blog and in the University Star. In national news, we hope you filed your income taxes for this year because if you waited until this week, you're late. The IRS expects 164 million individual tax returns this year, but only about 1 in 6 Americans files at the last minute. In fact, 100 million returns were already filed by early April. Most of those were filed online. Artemis II returned home Friday afternoon after a 10-day trip around the moon. The 4 astronauts, 3 Americans and 1 Canadian, got farther away from Earth than any other humans in history. It's the first time humans have flown to the moon in more than 50 years. The plan is to launch Artemis III in the next year or so to land astronauts on the moon. That's all I have from the newsroom. Reagan and Tristen, back to you.
Thanks, Neely. You know, it's not always easy to find information about mental health, but a new project by St. David's is trying to put materials where they're close and convenient.
The San Marcos and Buda libraries now offer mental health services to their local communities. Reporter Lizbeth Hernandez checked it out.
The St. David's Foundation has taken special interest in Hays County, adding the San Marcos and Buda Public Library to their list of many that provide mental health services to local communities across Central Texas. After being chosen to be part of a pilot program that went from 2022 through 2025, Libraries for Health officially began this year and is being funded by the St. David's Foundation, which not only funds the program, but also the books and resources for mental health. The Libraries program holds weekly sessions to foster mental health wellness through community-based activities, including art classes, yoga, and exercise.
The response was so positive to this that people who participated felt that it really provided something that was missing in their lives, which led us down the path of realizing that we could offer art classes as a way of tapping into the therapeutic value of art in people's lives.
I'd love to come. These are awesome. Yeah. And we've had a few Texas State students that come. And I teach Garabatos, which is my own approach to intuitive drawing. And I teach a mixed media class. It could be too, but I think more than the technique itself is the amount of confidence that people gain. And they stop being so self-judgmental as well.
Michael Hannon, who teaches art techniques, explains how these practices are helpful.
You know, one of the things that when people start trying these things, they gain confidence in the fact that they can do things that they never thought they would be able to do.
Overall, the program has received positive feedback.
These are classes that are offering solace, peace, and a creative outlet. They are not just community building, they are life-saving.
For Bobcat Update, I'm Lizbeth Hernandez.
April is turning out to be a big month in Bobcat sports.
No doubt. In fact, there's some history being made. Sam Halfon joins us live from the Sports Center. Sam?
Reagan and Tristen, thanks. Texas State softball just had a signature win against their Texas Tech Red Raiders, shutting them out last week. Remember, the Raiders have $1 million pitcher, but that wasn't enough. And that wasn't even the biggest win of the season. Coach Ricky Woodard led the Cats to an 8-1 win over the I-35 rival UTSA. And into the history books, she joins Karen Chisholm as the only coaches in Texas State history to win 900 games. Sports reporter Hayden caught up with Coach Woodard after the historic win.
900 career wins. From Southwest Texas State in the Southland Conference to Texas State headed to the Pac-12. 26 seasons later, head softball coach Ricky Woodard achieved just that with the Bobcats. But as much as she likes winning, it goes beyond the win column.
I think all the people that I've been able to do the journey with, I think about all the recruits and the players and the coaches, administrators, support staff. That's what the journey's been about to me. It hasn't been about wins and losses. This was just a number, and this is just as credits to all the people that I've been able to do the journey with.
For a big milestone like this one, the team wanted to get Woodard to that point, but keep going for more.
I feel like we tried to not think about it, but obviously it's a thought in the back of your mind when you know your coach is about to hit 900 wins. So it feels like we obviously wanted it for her, we wanted it for us, we wanted it for Texas State. 900's a big deal. 900's 900. She's gonna hit 1,000, so there's more to build. 900's not the ceiling for us.
As for what motivates Woodard, it's the people.
Don't get me wrong, I still like to win, but I like to see that change in the girl I get at 18 to the young woman that leaves the program.
She's one of the main reasons I'm here. I feel like me and her just have such a good connection, and we always have, even when I was a junior in high school. It's always been very easy to talk to her, and she feels like a second mom to me. So.
One of the longest tenured Division I softball coaches of all time isn't done yet.
Going for 1,000, yeah?
Well, I'm at 902, so I guess we're on our way, yes. What that means at the long run, I have no idea.
One last thing, we aren't done making history on the ball field just yet. Next week, when Texas A&M Corpus Christi visits Bobcat Ballpark, our crew will host the first ever live pregame show. First pitch is at 6, but we'll be streaming on YouTube starting around 5 p.m. We'll have interviews with the coach and player from both teams, a reporter in the stands, and some feature stories. Texas State President Kelly Damphis will join the show around 5:30. That's all I have. Back to you.
Thanks, Sam. We're pretty excited about the pregame show. A bunch of us will be working on that. We hope it's as entertaining as our last story.
Right? Check this out. A bear in Connecticut saw a bag of Doritos and did what any bear would do, grabbed it, and took off.
But this bear caught it all on video. The Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has been hanging cameras around the necks of bears. The idea is to better understand their behavior.
Pretty sure we all totally understand this bear's behavior. That's all we have for this edition of Bobcat Update. Thanks for joining us.
Watch this space for more news by students for students. And check out our pregame show next Tuesday. We'll see you soon.